Whoa! Hey everyone! Well, would you look at that? I go away, take 1 week off, and I forget how to start a show. Hey! Welcome to Two Dogs Dings Live Hall Pass, our first one of 2024. We are here today to talk about what's sold in December and a little bit of what we've been doing and what we're planning on doing for the month of January. As usual, I have my better half from downstairs. Good dog. We just celebrated our 38th anniversary together yesterday, actually. Oh, thank you so much. So I'll say goodbye to you then. And I'll add in Carl, who's probably much more excited than you.
Hey, Happy New Year, everyone.
So I guess I'll add him back in. Watch, I'll catch him drinking there.
Oh, there you go.
It's going to make me wake up, maybe.
Yeah, so
maybe. We'll see.
Welcome to everybody. So, yeah, today we're going to be talking about what sold in December. And we've got some interesting stuff that Carl and I have sold, but we also have stuff that a few others have sold that are in our craft group, Canadian Resellers and Fantastic Thrifters, or the Crazy Resellers and Fantastic Thrifters group, who've given us some notes. So a big hello to everyone. And hey, Carl, how are you doing? Happy New Year.
Great. Good. I'm happy. Yeah, it was great Christmas. I put my store in like kind of away mode for a good week until I think Christmas Day, and then it's like, okay, well, everyone knows they ordered Christmas Day, not getting it, so I didn't have to worry about it. And and sales have picked up again. I don't know about you, but I find January actually is usually pretty good. So
well, I was surprised. We didn't put our store on hold. We just didn't do anything for like 9 days.
My butt was glued to the lazy boy.
We were glued our butts to the lazy boy, watching tons and tons of movies.
All of the Harry Potter movies.
All the Harry Potter movies, all the Christmas movies.
Not the new Harry Potter ones, though, right? Just the old ones.
The old Harry Potter. We did the 3 days of that in a row. Yeah. We did all these vintage, all the Hallmark Christmas movies that we normally do, including Rick's brother in Dial S for Santa.
That was fun.
He played a really good Santa. It was a horrible movie, but he was a really good Santa.
He did his bit. Yeah, that's awesome. Though. That was so much fun.
But we literally stopped. We didn't list.
No.
And
I did a couple of drafts, but they were really half-assed.
But we didn't do anything else other than a draft or two, which we noticed because for the first time in almost 12 plus weeks, we saw our sales drop by 70% from what they had the previous weeks. So our payout this week for last week was back to like what we got last May. It was like, oh, ow. The only thing that we were lucky with was we had a good month on Etsy, and we're getting payment on Etsy this month. So this week, so we're actually getting a $1,500 payout on Etsy this week.
Oh,
so
sweet.
It makes up for the very low eBay payout. But we're gonna start back in. We kept saying, okay, we'll do it today, we'll do it this week. We just never got around to it.
One of our New Year's resolutions is to go to bed before 3 a.m.
Oh, yeah. During the last 3 weeks, we totally went to going to bed at 2:30, getting up at 11. We just switched completely to night owl this morning. It was a little painful. Like, I don't have to go to work, but Amy has to go to work, and she was not a happy camper this morning getting up for 9. And working from home at 9 was still a struggle. Yeah.
No, the struggle is real because we're still trying to adjust ourselves downwards a little bit. So I said it's always good if you can nap in the evening if you really need to get ourselves up and get listing, because I think what it proved to us, even as a sort of one of the rules moving forward into 2024, is like if you don't list, the algorithm may be looking at you, and if you're not selling and you're not listed, it's kind of like, okay, well,
I think that the algorithm does pay attention to how often items are changing in sellers' inventory. So even if it's end it and relist it, that would count as new activity and kind of freshens up what the algorithm is seeing. And it may actually help float your listings higher up in a search if one of the search factors is how long a listing has been live.
Possibly. But I just as I say, I just know that when we list, we seem to get more sales. When we don't list, it seems to be one of those things. Like that's sort of our direction as we move into 2024. We're going to talk a little bit more about 2024 ideas and things like that. And Carl's going to be joining us actually next week as well to talk strategies for 2024. But before we get any further, I just want to say a big hello to everybody. Let's see who we got in here. So Tina's here. Hello, Tina. And who else we got here? Tina, Rick. Heather, hey, Michael, Joel, Happy New Year to all of you. Jennifer, Happy New Year. Janet, Kathy, let's see, Lisa, Kevin. No, yes. My brain is gone after a week. Erica, Alyssa, Lisa, Julie. Oh, hey, Julie, I hope you're feeling better. Mr. Greg, Sherry, Sam Chap, Holly, how you doing? Back to Secretary Days, working on inventory with Excel. Oh, ghost listings are making me crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a big thing of 2024. And January as a whole, it's like inventory. Like that's one of the things that we have to do. Let's see. And April, hello. Let's see. And hey, Diana, Roadrunner. So inventory is the big thing I think most of us as sellers hate. And ghost lists, like that's one of the things that we found. So that's a goal as we move forward, as well as other things. Oh, Elisa had COVID for Christmas. Oh, no. That's not very nice.
Did you enjoy your alone time?
I know who to talk to when I get up to go to the bathroom for. Yeah, if she actually texts, she knows that we're probably around.
Oh my God.
But yeah, so what we're here to chat about again is what sold in December as a whole to end off the year. We've got a couple of things that I thought that were neat, though, is we're going to show you some of the things that were some people's favorite, either sales of the year or their sales from December or recently. So, and I think I'm going to start off with one that is, to me, is kind of like, it's a couple of gigantic ones, and this is Taylor Myers actually sold these, and they are one of the there's not I just got to show it, like, because it's like when you think about stuff all the time, you're thinking, oh, I might see that, it can't be worth that, it can't be worth. Take a look. These are just two, and this shames all of us almost in terms of sales. It's actually bigger than any sale I've ever seen too. But the second one, but the first one is a surprise vinyl Fun Time baby. Just this baby kitty, he sold for $450.
What is okay? What line is that?
This is Kitty Surprise. So Kitty Surprise are those the plush cats. This is even damaged. Look, face is damaged. Paw is missing finishing. Discoloration. I love his name, Haggle Now. That's their name, Haggle Now. But Kitty Surprise was this plush thing that you had babies stuck inside it.
List it.
Sarah, if you have that kitty. Now, the thing is, I'm not sure if it's the kitty
or the
mouse.
Yeah.
Because finding something like that little mouse, which is attaches like that with a little magnet, that may very well be what the be all and end all of what made this. But yeah, and look at there. There's on this one. Look at the marks on the face. Look at that. So people sometimes think that's got to be that can't. It's got smudges. Who sold that? Diana wants to know who sold it. Taylor Myers.
This is the lower end sale.
And Taylor's actually one of Taylor's other big things that he sold, and he bought this. He did this logo. was from the Kingston Penitentiary,
Right.
and he actually bought jail beds,
The metal bunk beds
metal bunk
Really?
beds from a
the
jail.
penitentiary. Yeah.
He flips some of the wildest stuff around, and when I talk wild, this is something you are going to be like stunned and shocked about. He flipped this. This is Taylor is actually somebody who's we've known for quite a long time. He's actually Taylor is somebody we've known for a long time. He's a member of Craft, and he lives near London, Ontario. And I hope he cleaned. Well, here's the thing that is the one, and I forgot about this. He did talk about it to us. I'm not sure whether we talked about this before, but he sold this, which is a Shrek television set. Little Shrek ears.
Oh,
he had it in the box.
He had found this one in a box. There's a
sealed?
better picture. There's a better picture of it.
I think he sold one out of the box too.
He did sell one out of the box. Rick, be quiet. You're gonna say something that I'm trying to talk.
Oh
And
my
he
god!
sold-
Oh my god!
He sold one. He sold two. This in the past year and a half. One was a little over a year ago, and he sold it for. He put it on auction, and he got a good high bid on it, and then the person didn't pay, but he managed to sell it for $1,000. And take a look at this.
No.
$5,000. $5,000.
That is nuts. That is by far the highest sale I've seen for just like an electronic or anything
And
really.
it's brand new, sealed. That's why.
Sealed, yeah.
Shipping will be $140. So it's like, yeah. So if you ever see a Shrek TV anywhere in any condition of any
it's not
kind,
that old. It's from 2006,
2006.
according to the listing.
Yeah, it's from 2006.
I know like some of the TVs that look like that can be good, not necessarily Shrek, but other styles.
Yeah.
Like,
did you know there's a TV more rare than the Shrek one? No, I did not. I know that we've actually sold we sold a Cars TV DVD player to Niagara Falls that we bought at a local thing, so like an hour and a half away, and we bought it for like $12 or something like that, and we sold it for $500.
Yep.
And it was not new. And we've sold a Barbie. So when you've got these kids kind of things, like 2 more years and it'll be vintage. That's true. 2024. 2004 is now vintage. Like,
so Diana's saying that the Buzz Lightyear TV is more rare.
It's round. Oh, okay. So again, I guess, Kendra, they didn't make a lot of them, or they just didn't stay around a lot, or anything along those lines. I'm not sure. There is a Mickey Mouse TV that's kind of like it as well. They do work. They work perfectly fine. And when we bought them, we tested them too. We tested them, and what we've done with the TVs that have the DVD, and then when we find those or a VHS, when we find those at a thrift store, we actually go to the DVD section or the VHS section, and we take those with us over to the plug so that we can plug it in and test the DVD or test the other thing. So this actually, again, that's a stunning surprise for something.
Yeah, like that's crazy. That's so good though.
Less surprising is when you can find some stuff that you may find a couple of things of, or you're maybe lucky enough to get in an auction or something like that. So Lisa Boland, who's on here, and she's here right now, has a couple of things that she ended up picking up. This is from Lisa, really cute. This is a Fitz and Floyd, and again, people probably don't think so much. Like they keep thinking, well, Fitz and Floyd may have a value to. This is a Fitz and Floyd dragon, sold on Etsy. It's from the 70s. So you don't normally think about Fitz and Floyd having older things. Like some people do and don't, In this case, this was $159. Lisa actually bought this. She bought 2 of these for $50 each. And the first one sold for $150 in 8 hours. And then she raised the price and sold the second one like right after that for a little bit more money. So it's like, take something, and again, a $50 investment. People might think, I don't know whether I should invest $50. Well, that $50 investment selling at 150 US for a Canadian, if you bought it for 50 Canadian and selling for 150 US, like that's $100 in profit right there.
Oh yeah, I would do that every day. Yeah.
And yeah, so it's not, but I think a lot of people though, Carl, I think honestly, a lot of people are afraid to like buy something for $20, $10, $20, $30, or $40 or $50 because they're like, but if it's got a big enough markup on it, you really, as a reseller, you really need to
and consistent sales. You don't want to buy something for too much money that's going to sit in inventory for 5 years.
No.
You want to see sales on it.
Yeah. Something else Lisa sold. Let's see if I can get back to this. Another cutie. This was actually, I don't know the name of this. I don't recognize Naman Israel porcelain bighorn sheep. And again, it's such an MCM look. Rick would have grabbed this in a second.
Yeah, that's really,
she's just saying that 2024 is the year of the dragon, and they sold in early 2023. So it could be people planning on it. With this particular thing, this is actually part of, she got 3 of these, 2 white, 1 brown, as part of an auction lot. She paid $45 for the whole lot with about a dozen other items. So this one little ram, again, sold for like $150.
Gotta love those auction lots where people don't know what they have.
Yeah, it is
they
funny.
are really cute. Elisa said she accidentally dropped a Fitz and Floyd Christmas boat, ended up cutting herself and bleeding like a stuck.
Oh no!
Now she doesn't want to. Well, hopefully it was at home. You weren't like spurting like Julia Child in that video all over the thrift store. The ram sold super quick. The others 2 are still sitting. Well, you know what? You made your money on the ram, so you don't have to worry about the rest of the stuff too. Sherry sold a Fitz and Floyd snack tray on a Whatnot show that she had jewelry on. That's a save the liver. Hey, Luette, don't worry. Happy New Year. Next on our guest list of interesting things for sale is, let me just see if I can find this. Oh, no, that was that. This is it. Here we go. This is Heather, who's here. Heather and Bob. And this is just one thing that Heather says is one of her favorite things to sell, which is mahjong sets. Now, that's the nice thing about this is a really, like, this is the everything. Like, I see tiles every once in a while.
Is it Bakelite, this one, or is it just, I don't pick up the Bakelite one, but
it's just, no, it doesn't actually say. 60s, 70s.
Okay.
And even has a replacement handle on the case. Yeah, that's a real replacement. That's for sure. It's like Heather found an old belt that Bob,
a shoe buckle,
and took it and decided that's what they were going to make as the. But again, $175. Yep. So a really nice thing to actually sell too.
I'm so happy people are sharing their sales. It's really fun. It's like, and I like seeing what we're getting.
Heather said it was Bakelite.
Bakelite,
Bakelite, you missed that in the title. Maybe that's why you only got 1 bid, but it is a nice, really nice complete set. Now, I just saw something here. One of the best auctions that Holly had was vintage menus, best buys that she had. Yeah, those can be really, really good to find. And Kendra's always look for menus. We actually have found a few, and we've sold some individual menus for restaurants all through the states, different,
People
especially
definitely-
travel destinations.
Yeah.
Disney, Hawaii restaurants menus,
Supper
tiki
club
bars,
menus.
cruise lines. Cruise line menus are actually really interesting. They do well too. Hey, Slapcrafter. Let's see. Heather said this. Oh, it came like that. And Heather also likes playing Mahjong too. I don't know how to play Mahjong. I only know how to play Mahjong on. I watched it on Crazy Rich Asians and it confused me. I know how to play that one game you can play like on solitaire. So
I've never
Yeah,
played
we
it.
have to match the tiles.
where you have to
Or
match
no
the tiles. Yeah, I know it's a really lazy one of those. Paul says he has green racks in fair condition to list. Yeah. Tina's never found a set. No. Oh, that's interesting. 2 tiki menus in that lot, and those sold quickly. Yeah. So I love how old menus always have tomato juice on them for 10 cents. That's actually very true.
Or clam juice.
Another one that we've got is Janet Londonwire has she's got a couple of her favorite things that she's actually sold. I love this one. This is the what I got here. This is the Presley Family Cookbook, signed by Vester Presley. Elvis's uncle.
Wow, that's very specific.
I have no idea.
Okay.
Isn't it just going to be a menu that has peanut butter and pickles put on
Bacon.
everything?
Bacon fat.
What did he? Isn't that
Big
what
knuckles
Elvis
and
ate?
bacon fat.
I don't know. There's the signature.
That's cool.
Visited Graceland in November 1989 and had Vester Presley sign it for $45. Not Uncle Fester, no, Vester. Vester Presley, not Fester Presley.
That's cool though. That's fun.
And then this is another one, which it's just a really cute kind of thing. This is one of her favorites, Jemmy, and we've always talked about Jemmy being something good to look at. These interactive things. Remember our interactive challenge from last year? We're going to start those again in the next day or two. We're going to be starting challenges that are roughly either could be for a month, could be for a couple of weeks. So we're going to start challenging you guys to go out there and thrift for things. Interactive is a big thing. And take a look at this. This is literally got the video in here. I don't know if it'll run or not. So we'll see if I can get it to run. There we go. It's kind of at the end of the day, that's kind of boring.
Yeah, it's like that's
right. That's all it does. And it
Like,
went for almost $100.
You have to picture it surrounded by other Halloween-like things.
Yes.
The flashing
That's a good point.
lightning.
Yeah.
And again, you just always look on the bottom for that. There's the key thing on there is you look for Jemmy Industries somewhere on this. They always should have that on them. If they have a button you can push, it could be down here, like this button down here. But the other thing to look for, if you see plush, and it's a plush Jemmy, what it will look like, it will have a little button on it where you press down, and there'll be a G for Jemmy right on that. So without even picking it up, if you saw a plush that has a G as the plush thing you press, you know that's a Jemmy right off the bat.
It's a little rubber button, isn't it?
No, it's fur.
Or is it fur?
Whatever's on it. It could be rubber. It could be clean. It could be have fur on it. Like
Okay.
Any various ways that it's clearly marked Jemmy.
I think I've seen an embroidered G.
At least love Jemmy, and I never know how to pronounce this. Beastie,
Beist.
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 I don't know. Bitch. Like I don't know how to pronounce the ST or like a silent CH. I have no idea. Charmaine's like, yeah, it does, doesn't it? Some of these really look like cheap. There's other things that look like dollar store, and I'm going to show you one that we sold. That the only reason we bought it was because of Carl, but it's one of our favorite sales from the year. It looks like dollar store to me, but we sold it for good money. Billy Bass in your repair pile to never deal with. Yeah. The challenge with that, again, you got to have the batteries. You got to bring the batteries with you to try, because we have probably bought over the years 5 Billy Basses that
we run from them now.
Now we don't touch them.
I passed them by too because I had bad experience.
So many of them that sing and their face doesn't move, or their face moves, they sing, but their mouth doesn't go properly. So we just don't, but yeah, so try the batteries, and if they don't, donate them, toss them. One more that we're going to, which is showing some other people's stuff in the, Lisa got a Billy Bass and sold it for 40. So yeah, no, they can sell. If they work, they can sell, but it's just a challenge if you're getting them and you don't know about them. So next up we got, again, which is somebody else who's got some stuff that they picked up. Yeah, I'm just trying to get to this. Donna Lynn Freeland, who we're probably going to have as a guest coming up in a couple of weeks. Basically, and I'm sure that Donna's here or not today, but Donna basically like all of a sudden became like doll fixated. So from her standpoint, it's like dolls. All of a sudden, it started. So she started doing more and more dolls. Now the nice thing is with Donna Lynn, she's actually got booths in a couple of different markets. So she's doing a different way of selling versus only on Facebook or only on eBay or only on Etsy. So these are some of Donna's sales that she's had from her past year. So these are some of the favorites that she sold. She mainly because she said she wanted to keep them for herself, but she still ended up selling them. This Monster High doll she picked up. You always look for these older Monster High dolls because, it's back. They're back out in the stores right now. New versions of these Monster High dolls, but the old school Monster High dolls. This was she got this at the Salvation Army for $15 and sold it for $100, like really quick on Poshmark. So it's keeping an eye out for those kind of things. This is really nice. This is a Miss America, a vintage quick curl Miss America. Now the thing about, if you're a Barbie person at all, it's a doll that is absolutely hideous if you actually play with her. And that's because she has wires in her hair. The wires are how that holds the curl. The minute you comb it out, it is a bunch of frizzy wires that it's like
a Brillo pad.
The only time this looks good is when it's barely ever been touched.
In the box.
Now, the interesting thing about this, though, is like you can see, originally sold for $5.55. So the nice thing about this, though, is that she picked this up and bought it in an auction for $110. And you'd be, oh God, $110. And then sold right after it for $335 on Etsy. So again, that's part of that buying something that might be a little bit pricey, but knowing that you potentially can flip it. So in this case, a vintage Barbie in its original packaging. And then these are really cute. This is actually, she got these from another local auction for $2. And this is a knockoff. So there's a big thing for dolls, for people who collect dolls. Not only are the original dolls themselves, but clone collectors. And clones are dolls that were made by all these other companies to try to take advantage of people who couldn't actually afford the real doll. This is actually a thing called Miss Toyorama, and it's a knockoff of a doll called Dawn. And that's exactly what it is. It's a Dawn clone. And she got all 3 of these for $2 and sold on Etsy for $100. Quickly. Yeah. So again, interesting things to find that are out there that in this case didn't cost a lot. But again, one of the stories that we tell all the time when we used to go Barbie hunting for vintage collections, we always used to have to tell people that they didn't have they're a real Barbie. People hated us. They told us they were told us we were cheap. They told us we didn't know what we were talking about.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, if you go back to old Sears Montgomery Ward catalogs, old Christmas catalogs, you'll see versions of the dolls that were Barbie, and then right beside that, Barbie might have been $2.98. Then beside it, you'd see something else, and it was 98 cents.
Here's Mitzi.
Mitzi, yeah, or all these different versions of dolls, and this is exactly what this Miss Toy-Rama is. So what happened is parents used to buy these things that a 6-year-old wouldn't know the difference when they're opening a box at Christmas. They're not going to open the box and go, "This Toy-Rama." Ah! They're going to think it's a doll. I burst Barbie bubbles with that. So there were actually people who would not sell me any amazing collections they had because I was like, "This is good. This is good. This is a knockoff. This is a knockoff." No, it's a number one. It's like, no, it's not a number one. I'm sorry, it's not worth $1,000. It's worth about $3. But the clone dolls, clone clothes, Heather will tell you that she actually loves playing with the clone dolls and clone clothes too, because she's made quite a lot of money on them. There's some clone outfits for Barbie that I know nothing about. I've never been a clone collector, and people spend, if you go onto eBay, you'll find stuff selling for $100 for knockoff versions of clothing. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about stuff like that. So she went to dolls. I don't know what's going to happen with 2024 if she's going to focus as much on dolls. No, that's one of the things that Carl asked me to start trying to get in here. Is like we'll see what other people buy too. It's always interesting to see what one person buys versus another person buys as well. Yeah, clone action figures. Yes, that's true.
Yeah, Star Wars and He-Man clones can be.
Yeah, actually, that's true. There's some He-Man clones that are worth a lot of money. That I'm sure I've actually gotten rid of over the years ago when I didn't think so much about it and there was no Google image or anything along those lines when I was selling at toy shows. I know there's some dolls. We had a big bag once where I had this huge bag of He-Man figures. Yeah. And I think the whole bag was like $50. This is going back to the 90s, but it was like $50. And somebody said, "Can I buy that one thing in there and I'll pay you $25 for it?" And I was like, "Sure, hear that for $25." And I sealed the now I look at it and it was like probably now a $500 version variant, but I didn't know that then.
If someone asked me for a specific toy in a bag, I'd be like, "I don't want to sell this at all now." But yeah, I can see that happen. And you know what? They weren't that old at that point too, right?
No, that's just it. They weren't that old at that point. And again, there was a lot of way back then, honestly, there was no internet to look stuff up in. You had to buy all the books and magazines and everything like that.
I'd probably be tempted to say, "Sure, I'll sell it to you for that, but you have to tell me what it is and what it's worth."
Oh yeah.
You were at the booth when I did it, and you did not say anything.
Oh, that was scummy little people with shitty little lives.
Yes, that was when you were doing your "I don't like people." Like, I don't want to deal with people. I don't like people. But
I still don't.
So, I was gonna make a joke about that. I thought I'd better not.
Go ahead.
So next one, and this is specifically when I was talking about. So I'm going to go into some of the stuff now that Carl and I have sold over the past month or so, or some of our favorites. And one of the things, and this is what I talk about. This is where we learned something from Carl, and Star Wars really profited off the Clone Wars. Yes, very true, Paul. The dad joke. I guess that's a reselling dad joke. When we were looking at stuff, Carl put something up, and it was this. I'm trying to get a better picture of it if I can. Let's see if I can get. There we go. Carl put this thing up to look at that was stay that he bought, that I was like, I thought this is junky, and I'd seen stuff like this before, but again, it's one of those things you learn about, and hopefully you guys will learn more about here as well, is this thing with this little tiny plaque on it. Now, these plaques to me looked really cheap. The items themselves looked really cheap. And I kept thinking, this is like dollar store. And this actually particular thing, which some of you may remember, again, I was not really impressed with what this looks like. To me, it looks like honestly a dollar store Jesus. Like there's no other way for me to describe it. And in fact, the funny thing was when we had this 1986 Florence on there, this is the one. Yeah, this has. Let's see if I get the proper picture of it, because Rick has a lot of pictures in here. Boy, there's a lot of pictures. Where's the toe pick? There. Has a broken toe. So this is the broken toe. And
The soldier was nibbly.
Yeah, so this is one of Rick's favorites, and this is actually something that sold, and we got, again, never would have thought, had it honestly not been for Carl, I don't know, Rick, if you would have looked at this, would you?
Actually, not as intently. I do recall, I think you had a Last Supper diorama that had the Carl. I can't remember what the piece was.
I think it was a bunch of birds on a
birds
branch.
on a log or a branch.
Yeah. And I just remember when I saw it in the store, to me it looked like slightly higher quality than the normal store, but the normal stuff. But honestly, it was also easy to look up because I had a name.
I actually looked it up into the store. I grabbed it off the shelf, put it in my cart.
Yeah.
When we were checking out, the lady in front of me said, "Oh, I had picked that up. It's really beautiful, isn't it?" I said, "Yeah, it's really nice." Yeah. And then on the way out of the store, Craig asked, "Why did you buy that? Why the hell would you buy that?" And I showed him some of the comps.
Yeah.
And I said, "But it's got a broken toe."
And I said, "Yeah, it does. We'll price it a little bit lower."
Yeah. We did get positive feedback on that as well. So again, really happy when you've got something that, again, I would never think this would be a $350
and
item.
It was big. It was like a 15-inch cross.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And again, it's sold in under a month, I think, Rick.
Yep.
I wouldn't. That's just it. I would not. This is not a typical thing for me to actually pick up.
Yeah, I actually found some really good keywords using Worthpoint.
Yes.
Because Worthpoint goes back 10, 15 years. I found some listings that were older that weren't on eBay or that had dropped off eBay because more than 3 years had passed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the other things that we always say with, let's see if I can get this up, is if you're looking up things like that, you can consider, I'm not going to get the right picture on here, but consider when you're looking at stuff here that even if you go to something that's older in here, so I can go to higher price range things that, well, I don't expect to be $11,000. So Armani, and Jesus, there we add that in. And when we're looking at any of these sort of things, is you can look up something that is based on the sold date, but you can also, let's say, high to low, and you might find something like this. This Armani Jesus, look at that, sold for $2,000 in 2011. And sometimes you're able to. This is what Rick's talking about. Worthpoint gives you the ability to go back in and literally pull information from here. So this is a 13-year-old listing that you now can go back into and get information on to put in your listing. If you saw something that, in this case, this isn't really a great title, but it's another way for you to actually be able to take a look at something like Worthpoint and be able to find uses from it, not just in looking up things when you're in a store, which again is like my go-to app now. It's not even a go-to app for me to look at eBay's 90-day solds now. I go to Worthpoint on everything I do now in the thrift stores because I'm seeing years worth of stuff in there. So, hey, So that's another reason you should look at that. So I think I'm not sure, Carl. So this is one of your sold. I don't know if this was a recent sold for you. I'm trying to see if there's a date on it, or
December, hopefully. Should
or
be
if this is a December sale for you, because this is one of the come on. What's this? Why are you, oh, there we go. This is again something some people think are nope, dead. Nobody buys these anymore.
Yeah, this hasn't been delivered yet. This is definitely a recent sale. The fun thing about this is that a thrifting friend gave me this, and he said, "Oh, you should sell this. It's worth some money." And yeah, so it's good money. Still
It is worth some money.
Yeah, still some good money in these Starbucks. This one is like I think it's spelled incorrectly or something like that.
But $400 US.
Yeah, I got $360. I took 10% off, so I got
okay
for it. Still pretty good. And I'm gonna give the guy who gave me this half the net on it.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, well, you know, I really appreciated him giving this. He didn't. He said, "Oh, I don't have to do that in the past," but I said, "No, if you're gonna give me stuff that's good, I appreciate it." So,
actually, I have a question. Does the Worthpoint app have a camera search function like Google Lens? Lisa said no. Yes, it does, Lisa, actually. And here is the camera function. I will go to here. So here is my Worthpoint right there. And when you go to search Worthpoint, I didn't have this prepped, you can actually go into the camera right there. And you can use your camera or use your gallery. So you actually can camera something. And I'll just take a picture of this egg that's there. Take a photo of that egg. Confirm, hit confirm, and then there's the picture up there, and there it is. So it's something that Worthpoint, it is great, and it's a different thing about Worthpoint. It kind of has its Google Lens version. It's not as good as Google Lensing or Carling something, but it's trying to match specifically to only images on Worthpoint. And so that's where it sometimes can be a harder thing to link to. But yeah, it does have the search function right there for that. You can also Google image it and try and go back and use the words from that as well. So it's actually really good to try out for a little while. We have a link actually in the video description for all our video descriptions. It's a 7-day free trial. It does cost about $30 a month. You can buy it for a year or you can buy it on a monthly basis. So if you deal with a lot of different vintage, older, with like weird kind of things, this is why we always say Worthpoint is really worth it. Heather says it's really worth it too. Yeah. Worthpoint does have, and yeah, Worthpoint, that's it. Worthpoint has the app right on there too. You've never noticed the camera. Yeah. The nice thing is there's a number of other functions in there. There's a dictionary in there as well. There's marking category. We're going to do a couple of Worthpoint videos coming up in the next month. We're going to try and do some more of those. So, but yeah, it's a really good option for you. And again, now, as I say, the thing is for me, if I'm looking up something like that Armani Jesus and I'm looking this up, I'm getting 15 years of sales. So when you are in eBay, you're only getting 90 days and it's a rolling 90 days. So for example, if you're looking up Christmas items now, great. But if you're looking up Halloween items, and they like once February hits, there's less Halloween items that sell in November and December and January. So once February hits, you're only going to see stuff that goes back to November. So that's the nice thing is Worthpoint gives you 15 years of it. Now you can go onto your desktop or you can use the web and do TerraPeek and get 3 years worth of stuff through eBay. And they are talking about maybe making it app friendly in the upcoming year or so. But it's still, nothing's been confirmed on that. And people have been asking for that for years. So.
I do have a workaround. I do have a link on my phone that loads the desktop version of TerraPeak. So it's basically a shortcut that I've set up that will load TerraPeak so I can do a search, but it's kind of the desktop site on your mobile browser. It's not very...
TerraPeak went to 3 years this year. Just the beginning of, or sorry, last year, beginning of 2023. So it's got 3 years worth of data in it.
Yeah, they rolled that out across their servers, so it took a while for some people to actually get it, but now it should be across all eBay sites.
But yeah, as April said, it's a very helpful app, and there's reference book in there. Yeah, we're going to do a video just about the reference books and marks. There's 3 different sections of it that, again, I look at this as a serious reseller who has a lot of different kinds of items, a lot of one-offs, a lot of things you buy one of and you don't ever buy them again. So it's not somebody who's focusing just on only teacups and that's all I sell is teacups, or only DVDs and that's all I sell is only when you do like we do, which is anything that we see that's of interest to us, it's great to have 10 plus years of information. The reference book section is amazing in it because it literally is scanned reference books. And some of those reference books have been out of print for years. Some of the reference books themselves cost $100 to $200 if you want to buy a hard copy of them. And to be able to flip through those for things, and it's got a mark section, which is, again, you can take a picture of a mark on a piece of pottery and it will tell you what that mark stands for. It's like, I mean, again, we're going to do a couple of videos on those. They'll be their own short little videos as well. So yeah, I guess generalists, that's what we call ourselves.
Replacements.com also has a really nice image lookup too if you're trying to find a set. But
this was an interesting one, Carl, that you had too. It's like, again, you found this at a thrift store, or
I got this in an auction actually.
Oh, okay.
You know, this was just fun. It was not in perfect condition, and it was one of the rare times I was like, well, it's worth much, and I paid up for it. I think I paid $15 or something like that.
It's not that big either.
No.
When I look, I see your hand up here. I'm like, there's your thumb.
Yeah,
and
it was big enough.
It's like a canteen size.
Yeah. I'm the only reason I'm showing this is it's not a tarot card deck. It's not a camera. It's not a board game. It's like something different. And in this case, I didn't fill it up or anything. I just said I didn't actually test it. No complaints, so hopefully it went well. So $50.
I didn't actually test it.
With water.
Yeah.
You test it with.
I tested it with scotch. Whiskey.
You know, you were talking about earlier, like how much you pay for stuff. Like my general rule is 3 to 1. So if something sells for $50, I'll spend about $15 on it.
That's a pretty good idea.
It's not a steadfast rule though. Like it kind of breaks if things get cheap or too expensive. But
so, and I'm gonna just make one comment here, which is really interesting: is there is nothing on here about the size.
My hand is there. Okay. You know why? But you know why? It's because this is a common item.
Oh, okay.
So it's not like it's a unique item. There's lots of solds, and I assume anyone who's looking for this actually knows what they're buying. So that's why I did not do that. Yeah.
I was gonna say Elisa says we're generalist resellers. Their calls us eclectic. I like eclectic better. And Sherry said she's been trying to sell reference books for $3 to $5, no bites. The challenge of trying to sell them is they cost a lot to ship.
I got like 1,000 of them. See all there? That's only like a quarter of them or something. Like, they don't really like all those are like Sotheby's or Miller's. I like to use them just to learn bolos, but yeah, they don't have any value.
Some actually do. I mean, there's actually a like, for example, in the Barbie world, there's a Barbie fashions book that is from the 70s, and it's got some of the hardest to find things, and the hardcover version of that book sells for between $100 and $250.
Yeah, I was talking about the generalist ones, but yeah.
But even that, and a lot of those books, again, they're all part of Worthpoint. Now there's 2 different parts of Worthpoint, just so everybody knows. One is just the Worthpoint sort of library for selling prices. Then the other is what they call their marks and library. So there are two different pieces to it. So you don't have to subscribe to both. You can choose just to do, I just want to know pricing, or you can go to the bigger one and go, I want to know everything. Now, if you want to know everything, it's going to cost you like $400 a year. But at $400 a year, it's a write-off for you on your business. Again, so that's something to think about. And you can do it monthly and decide I haven't used it and I don't want to do it, that sort of thing. But it's a great thing, especially to test for people to take a look at. We did mention actually one thing. This was we mentioned this in a show, and then surprisingly to us, it was like, and then it sold. It's like that magic thing that you do. We've had this Elvis towel set for the longest period of time, and it sold pre-Christmas to somebody. And I found it in a thrift store. It was for like $5.99 or $6.99. It actually was a bag that was filled with all these, so it hadn't been opened. Which is bath towels, hand towels, wash towels, and fingertip towels. And it had the little Sincerely Elvis Presley thing on it. There it is. You can see it's still sealed. That's the baggie that's in. And I was not going to let this go for under $100. So we've actually had it sitting at $150 for, I think, 3+ years now. And I talked about it in a show, and it sold 24 hours later.
It's funny, yeah.
It's that weird.
We also got really good feedback for it.
Yeah. But it's that weird kind of, I moved this out of the way.
Yeah.
And then it sold. It's like
you
cannot manifest it as sell. It doesn't work that way. You can't hold on to this and go, you must sell. I need you to sell. Because if you do that, it's probably never going to sell. But if you moved it out of the way, now watch, that will sell because I just used it as an example. But it's the touch it and move it and it'll sell. That's the hope that you hopefully try to do sort of thing.
It can't be I'm going to touch it and it will sell. It has to be kind of coincidental.
That's the
I
only
moved something out of this box, and the thing that I moved out to get to the thing that sold is what sold next.
This is more on your regular sort of world, Carl. This is a Motorola cell phone.
Yeah, these old brick cell phones.
Brick.
It's a brick. It's a literal brick. Yeah. I don't find these very often, once every couple of years maybe. But they're worth picking up if they're cheap enough. I don't think anyone's actually using these old things. I don't know what it was used for. I have a feeling it went to a
movie house or a prop house.
Prop house, exactly.
Yeah, I can actually see that for a prop house, because it's the kind of thing you used to see like Working Girl, sort of like Sigourney Weaver talking on the phone using one of those exact things too.
It's just different. Was this really December? Huh. Yeah, I guess so. It's funny how quickly it goes.
Yeah, estimated delivery January 9th.
Yeah. It's just different.
We bought, I don't remember, we told you we bought a bunch of Christmas ornaments that was in a box for like $45. A big, huge box with all these big ornaments that we thought were really amazing. Well, when we were organizing it, we organized it, and in the bottom of the box, I actually found all of these little loose glass ornaments. I was like, oh, what the hell are these things? And like just little tiny glass things stuck in the bottom underneath the 30 some odd amazing vintage glass ornaments. Well, Rick does the smart thing. He just took a quick picture of this god jewel thing and picked it up and found out it actually was by Costa Boda. So we listed, we had 5 of them all together in this set in the series, these 5. And so we put them all together and listed them at $49.
Oh, that's good.
And we sold them in a couple of days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, individually, they sell for between 10 to 15. I thought I'd get them all in one lot and just get them out of the way and give us the money that would pay for the $50 we paid for the entire box of ornaments.
Yeah. So now all of the glass ornaments that we got from that lot are free, in essence. I mean, we did pay for them, but like now we don't have any real cost in
now when I was doing my research, some of these clear glass Costa Boda ornaments, there are 1 or 2 that are in the $100 range.
Wow, I don't think I would know to even look those up. They just look so.
They look kind of cheap.
They look cheap, but maybe it's because I just so used to dollar store stuff now that
Well,
vintage.
I looked at that.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. I looked at that, and again, not anything religious about me. And I looked at God Jewel. I thought, what? They forgot the Y from July. I don't understand.
Yule, good Yule. Happy
No, I'm just
Christmas.
telling you
Merry
what I looked
Christmas.
at, and I just thought, oh, it's like, oh, that, yeah, they, yes, they do look hand done. Yes, good July to you too. That's what I was saying. I'm not the only one.
Good Yule. Good Yule.
Oh, Swamp Picker did a great find. Vintage wood planers on Facebook on Saturday.
Yeah, that
those
is
can go
good.
for really good money too. So
I must admit, I don't look at closely enough at those.
and again, the only reason I literally picked them up to put into the donate box.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
And then Rick went, I'm just looking up this because I was like, who cares about Good July? And obviously I'm glad that Rick looked a little harder at it. Sometimes you find something that just is a little weird. This was one of those things that I found. It was a little weird. We actually ended up buying 4 of these. These were at a Salvation Army. They wanted $20 a piece for them. And I don't even know where they were made. They were just so bizarre. I thought I had to buy them. This is a Jean-Michel Baptiste plush figure. Like, it's just this weird stuffed doll.
It reminds me of the sewing kits that you would get. You get the flat sheet with the image printed
Like
on
the pillow,
it,
yeah.
cut them out, and then stuff them yourself.
This is actually
an artist version of that.
Yeah. And we also I paid $20 a piece for them. We also got Missy Elliott.
Yeah.
And I can't even remember.
Jamiroquai was one.
Jamiroquai, and there was one other. I can't remember. And I found out these were actually done by an artist, I think, in Brazil. And the first 2 that we had sold literally within a week. Basket took a little longer to sell, but we still got $95 for them. And then, so again, that was just something that you would never. So it's just a weird kind of little thing like that we have. It tells you how old it is because it's got one of our old video links in it. So it's just a weird kind of little guy, but I wasn't going to let it go really cheaply. But there's one thing that I couldn't let go. Our first thrift find of 2024. Wait. Of 2024. It's Sven from Frozen. It was a my size Sven. It was $10.99. The thing about Sven, I don't know if you can hear him, but he snorts and he breathes heavy. So when I was pushing him around the store, all these ladies kept turning around and looking at me because they thought that I was.
Let it go.
I didn't let it go because they thought I was snorting or breathing heavy on them as I walked behind people. I have to keep going. It's the reindeer. It's not me.
Can't hold
It's
me back
them.
anymore.
But yeah. Sorry. And he came with those little carrots that were on the back.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I'm surprised those didn't get lost.
I know somebody had taped the carrots to it on the back.
Yeah.
Yay! So, you sold that in your Disney store. Well, it was and again, $11, 30% off today for Senior Day. So got it for like $9 US. They look like they flip for on eBay for about 80 to 100 US, but I'm not going to ship that. I'm going to actually put it into.
I'm not going to ship that.
We're not going to ship that.
No,
that's me. $9 US. So, you'd have a hard time selling him. You don't mean because it would be hard to sell. You mean because you would want to give him up.
He's been in our carport.
He has been in our carport.
You put him in our carport.
Today. I just bought him today.
No, I went out to get donuts and
spend the pleasure.
Sven was sitting in the carport. I thought it was done.
No. Another show. That's another show. Let's go quickly. Look, here's something else that Carl sold.
I don't know. Oh yeah, go. I had to come up with something. People say I can't find them, I can't sell them. No, you can find them, and they always sell. And hey, that's $45 plus shipping, so I'm happy with those.
Well, what do you typically pay for them?
Oh, like usually $7.99, maybe even $5.99. I find the ones that have the plastic on the bottom sell better. So I kind of learned that little thingy. I don't know if you can see. And this one is kind of funny. Where I have my booth, he was trying to sell it in the store, and he said, "Well, you try to sell it online." And it was just kind of funny. It's like Splinter from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But we couldn't find any comps for this at all, which is very frustrating. So I put it up to auction a couple times and didn't get any bites. So then I went down to 100 American and sold, and it was just something different again.
But still, again, that's the kind of thing you probably wouldn't pick up if you saw it in a thrift store on a shelf or something like that for probably a couple of bucks.
Yeah, $100, and I didn't have to do any work, which is nice too. Because in this case, it was also a commission, which I don't do commissions unless I see the person. Like I see the booth every week, I'll do commissions, right? But for high value stuff,
Julie,
yeah.
Frozen is celebrating 10 years, and Frozen 3 is coming, and Frozen 4 was also announced too. So, but yeah, Diana would move them around the house. Who knows? We'll see. We might not sell them for a little while. It depends on what Doug has to say about a random reindeer rolling around in the house.
You probably wouldn't notice it.
I want to end off on one little thing, which is a couple of other things. One of them, though, is to talk again about cross-listing and using cross-list magic. We have a code in here as well for for using cross-list magic. This is one of the things we're going to talk more about as we get into 2024 planning. If you go to Crossless Magic and you use the code 2dogsdigs, you get 3 months for $5, and you get a week free. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because we sold a number of things on Etsy in December that were all things that we listed using Crossless Magic. They're eBay items that we moved over. And this is one of them. And again, we always talk about their different audiences on the different platforms. This is what we sold on Etsy for 131 Canadian. And when I showed this to Carl, he was like, "What?"
Yeah, because normally it doesn't go for that high. Yeah,
they are quite common. Like, it's not the most common. Like, the fact that he has his sword and his battle axe is one thing, but the fact that he's not in perfect shape. But this cat you can find in a lot of places.
Yeah, I see.
But at the end of the day, we sold that for $99, I think, something like that.
US.
And it's going to Switzerland, of all places. So we're selling from Etsy to Switzerland using this crossless magic. And again, it's so simple to do. All we ended up doing was going into our item and clicking on the little blue link, and boom, it sets up a draft in us for Etsy for us to use. So take a look at that. We've got a video here that's all about using Crossless Magic. It's about 20 minutes. It takes you through how everything works. But the promo code, if you use 2dogsdigs, you get 3 months for 50% off. You can end it anytime you want. It's just a really great thing that you can use. It's a desktop piece you use as a Chrome extension. So last couple of things, because that sort of was a spin over from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles thing. Last thing I want to show you is something else that we sold, which is Christmas related. We sold this right near Christmas. So we're not even sure if it got to the person by Christmas, but we found this little thing for $195. It's a paper tree skirt that we found. And we had it for the longest time. And Rick was like, "I'm not listing this. I don't know how to take a picture of it. I'm not listing this." So I just took it out, threw it on our kitchen floor, flipped it over.
I even see your foot.
You can even see my foot. Yeah, and it's not got perfect.
I took some of the pictures. He took the one of it on the floor.
Yeah, there's my. I don't know there's my foot. Right down there. There's my foot. I'm not even wearing
Thank
socks.
God you're wearing a sock.
$195 or something like that. So again, you never can tell what's going to sell, who's going to want it.
We did get really glowing feedback for that as well. They loved it.
We got real on that particular item. So I'm not sure whether we've got feedback on the Nakatomi Tower.
Yes,
yet.
we did. We got positive feedback. They love it.
Yeah, that is true, Andrew. Like accessories are worth more than the figures in some of the cases, but those two accessories aren't worth, I don't think, $75. So it was just really surprising. You can sell vintage clothes to eBay Japan. It's easy. Just put Japan as one of your international shipping things because you can set that up that way. That's actually what we do. We have a number of items that we sell where we add, not worldwide, but we add Japan and China as markets that we will sell in internationally. So something to think about. So those are some things hopefully you think about that you might think, oh, I never thought about selling this. I never thought I passed over 7 Shrek TVs. Thinking, why would anybody want a TV with ears? Now you know why you want a TV with ears, whether it's working or not. Whether you find old things that can be used for a prop company like a cell phone, or whether you can look at doing something that you never thought before that you thought was cheap, or you use the word Armani. Looking at clone dolls that are in packages to mahjong sets. It's all sorts of different things. There's everything out there. There's markets for all these different things. And hopefully you may have learned something or seen something today that other people, you thought, I didn't know you could sell that. And that's why we're here. Next week, Carl's coming back again. And we're going to start talking. The rest of January is going to be focusing on what we can do with inventory, planning, what we learned from 2023, what strategies we're going to talk about for 2024. So we're going to get into this whole month on the craft Facebook group as well. Is talking about ways for you to think about improving your reselling for the next year, because the beginning of every year is the time you need to start thinking about, what do I need to do to my business? How do I need to shake it up? And again, we always say, if there's one thing that you can shake it up with, it's going to be using crossless magic. That's for sure. That's the easiest thing you can possibly shake up. And we're going to talk about that again next week. So Carl, thank you so much for joining us here. And you hear Doug in the background there saying, it's time for my walk or whatever. But or he heard Sven again in the kitchen, and he wants more. Why is that reindeer in the house? Get that reindeer. But thanks, Carl. Thanks for joining us here. Thanks everybody here, especially those of you who are members of our Kennel Club. We will be also posting some stuff in craft, asking you what you want to see, because we need to get some direction for you, what you'd like to see in the new year. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe, tell your friends. Maybe join us next week live. See you, everybody. Happy New Year.
Thank you.